I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is the AMORPHIS for the big homies.
Kai,
one of my favorite human beings on the planet. For timely, topical, political commentary, you can hit us up in Middle America with Vin and Sori. We just got done doing a fireside, which was pretty cool. Kai was actually there. He asked me about AMORPHIS too. He's like, "What is AMORPHIS coming on?"
Really?
Yeah. So here we are. There are multiple ways to get your song reviewed. My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in on Patreon, where you get to meet the amazing Kai, among others. Also, we had a live stream.
Yeah, we did.
Fireside.
Yep.
So that's where we hang out with
topics.
everybody. Every member of the village is welcome. The village is simply facebook.com/Vin and Sori. That's not Patreon. Like, people think that that's Patreon.
Yeah.
The cult is Patreon. We had another nickname for it, like Underground something or whatever.
Yeah, it's gone through a different...
Yeah, lots of iterations.
The cult and the...
Yeah. So, clan. Clan gang.
I was a bit uncomfortable
Gang
with the
in
clan.
this bitch. Gang in this bitch. Gang. Anyway, so you join Patreon, and there's a lot of cool things, too, because, like, you know, Sori and I are in a band with other villagers, one of whom was Jay. And Jay on guitars. And so we've got the first 40 seconds of our song on there. When we actually do the video and publish it and everything, we're going to have the release party with the patrons first, before everybody else gets it. I think there might be like a week gap between that and that. So there's just a lot of cool things. But the biggest thing, you pull your points together and then you can decide what songs you do. Now, if you're a filthy capitalist like Sori and you don't want to work with a group and you want to hop, skip, and jump in front of everybody, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You do that 3 times, you get knocked down to the $75 level, and you determine which video and which song that we do. So,
Oh, babe, you took the mask in again. He always takes his masks inside, and then we get to the store and he doesn't have them.
I'm going to set a good example for you losers. Gang in this bitch, gang in this bitch, gang, 616. Okay. So let's do it.
Ready? It looks like you would have one of those dances. Wow. Okay.
Whoa, man.
Very well done.
Holy hell.
Yep.
I hope Nuclear Bass does not block this video because it's the official video.
I know. If it gets blocked, follow the link in the description.
I love seeing the band react to their own music and like are rocking to their own music and enjoying it. I love that shit. Like, that's one of the things where it's like, I don't know what to do because like I've got so many ideas for the video that we're gonna be shooting, but I also like, you know, band shots are, you know, gonna be fun. Because these are all like people we know in the village or whatever, like to see them like rocking.
Oh yeah,
I told Sarcasm, like, bro, you gotta beat the hell out of them drums in the video. He's like, say no more.
It's got it covered.
Jay, Yan, you gotta be rocking hard in this video, bro. Man, they were just rocking. They loved the music. I love the way it started out. It was like bang, open chord stuff right in the gut, right from the beginning, and then they were going for it for the whole song. And the chorus was very, very melodic. And
his voice too, like the two ways that he was doing his vocals. Oh my word.
Yeah, and I don't know, AMORPHIS, are they Swedish? Are they Norwegian?
I'm not sure.
I'll tell you in a second. AMORPHIS is a Finnish. They're from Finland. Man, this melodic death metal stuff, man, is whoo. They did it really, really good. There was another band that we listened to.
Their energy was just passing in between all of them. It was so good.
In Flames was another one of these like melodic death metal bands that are just killing it. Just sonically, man, it was just a fun song to listen to and to rock with. Like, it was just a cool, very, very cool experience. Like, it's crazy. Like, and I was thinking to myself, like, yo, what would it have been like to see that live? Good Lord.
Jesus.
Yeah, we missed a lot this go around because of the COVID stuff.
I know.
Shout out to everybody we were talking about like depression and COVID in the live stream, like for the first 10-15 minutes. So shout out to everybody. It's one of the reasons why, you know, at 1 o'clock in the morning we're, you know, it's just our little part to maybe give people, you know, a
to
little
alleviate
something.
some of that pressure.
And I do think it's related. I thought the song had a very, very positive message. What do you think the song was about?
I don't know. I wasn't watching the lyrics. I didn't want to take my eyes off the video. So I heard something about a crown, like weighing a crown or something.
Yeah.
But I didn't really. I mean, I know what it became to me because it was talking about weighing your crown and stuff like that. And then obviously in Christian theology, you know, there's that whole idea that, like, you know, you'll be, depending on what you do here, you'll be rewarded in the next life and stuff like that. And so it was, to me, like, what people think will get them, like, recognition in the next life is not necessarily true. I mean, we were just having this conversation with one of our kids last night?
Right.
You know, so it was, you know, are you doing stuff? So for me, it was just like, are you doing stuff that has an eternal weight or a glory attached to it that's beyond this life? And there are, you know, obviously nobody's perfect, so there are things that I think that have like that weight to it that I do or take part in, but then there's also plenty of things that no, they're just for me to enjoy my life here. So but I don't know what the song is about, so I guess we could get into the lyrics. That'd be cool because I didn't hear them.
I thought it was going to be more based in the stories, you know, the Swedish stories that Kai sent me, those books and things like that. I was like, oh, one of those kittens died. But verse 1 right from the beginning. When the dawn is bright and new and the day is full of hope, it's easy to continue your journey like a king on his royal way. So, like, life is going good, everything is going good for you, then of course you're gonna, you know, you're gonna stroll through it. Now, that reminded me of a quote from a Puritan. It's actually one of my favorite Puritan quotes, where it says, "When things are quiet and comfortable, we live by sense and not by faith. But the worth of a soldier is never known in times of peace." So it's like, whatever it is, like if you're a Christian or a Muslim or whatever it is, like when life is all simple, yeah, sure, and everything is going well, sure. But how do you adapt to suffering, pain, the unknown, an unknown wrinkle coming at you? How do you adjust and deal with that? And I think he was like, that's where you get your crown. If you're able to navigate the exigencies of life, that's where you get to really say that you're a king. But when everything's just going smooth and everything, and the whole world is
well, you have no way of knowing. It's like, how do you know if you're a patient person? Well, you have to be in a situation that tries your patience to know if you've actually grown in patience or not.
Have children.
I was literally thinking that.
Or getting married.
That too.
Which actually, there's a lot of truth to that. That's why Paul said women will be saved through childbearing.
Yep.
I quote that to you a lot. Yeah, he's not saying you'll be saved if you have a bunch of kids. He's saying that the primary mode of sanctification for a young lady is having to deal with little children. Good night. You will stand there amid silence in the void of an endless winter.
Woo.
On the ice of an unknown lake in the heart of loneliness, which is really interesting because, when you see King David in the Bible, like he's always talking about streams and does and deer and all this, and it's because he's looking at, the nature around him, being a Middle Eastern person, and that nature inspires him. But here he's talking about endless winters, freezing ice, because they're from a European cold climate country. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so you will stand there amid silence in the void of endless winter on the ice of an unknown lake in the what?
Endless winter sounds so horrible to me.
Yeah. But then of course...
It's like, what is that? Always winter, never Christmas.
Never Christmas. A damn white witch. There you will meet yourself. There you'll weigh your crown. I don't know if weigh your crown is proper there. Is it weigh or weir? What's the name of the Death of the King? Let's see if there's another. I beg to be far. It's there you'll weigh your crown. Is it really weigh? I mean, weigh your crown. That makes sense. I thought he was saying there.
But he talks about the ice, so I thought you put
wear your crown there. But I think
he says there you will weigh your crown on the ice of the lake of death.
Yeah.
I just thought when I saw that lyric, I thought it was like, it's either gonna break or it's not.
Yeah. There's that proverb, heavy is the head that wears the crown. So maybe he's talking about that type of weight. Of course, you're right. Like as a Christian, you get that famous statement where Paul says, I consider a light and momentary afflictions are working for us an eternal weight of glory. So, the arithmetic is, anything that you suffer in this life is going to be temporal. So from that perspective, it's light and momentary. But Paul says you're going to get an eternal weight of glory. So light, weight, temporal, eternal. So it's he's contrasting both of those ideas, which, was a very, very interesting understanding to me about the problem of evil as far as my personal life and struggles with the problem of evil, because there was not a moment in my conscious life where there wasn't some horrible chaos happening or some fissure of a relationship or whatever, or moving, or your mom might be dead and why are the cops at your house, and then of course becoming a teenager, going to the Bronx and that whole situation, and then after that, it was just, I had this thing about my life where I was like, oh, okay, I'm never gonna put my kids through X, Y, or Z. Or I would say, well, it's good that I went through it as a kid, so I can know not to do that with my kids, and yada yada yada. And then, so the entire time I'm like, okay, I've paid my dues, and then, things were not working out very well for me. And so I saw this stuff was hurting the kids and things like that, and it's like, man, I was like, whoa. I was so angry. I was so angry at God because I'm like, I did my time. I paid those prices, and now, I'm with this person who's doing this to the kids and yada yada yada. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Because
what do they say? The heart wants what the heart wants, because that was an irrational decision to go into that relationship. Yeah. Like anybody could see it from a mile away,
Yeah, but no, I hear what you're saying. But it was very, very, very difficult thing to sit and watch and deal with, and and
you're still dealing with it.
Still dealing with it. That's for sure. But at the same time, it's like, that verse, our light and momentary afflictions are working for us in eternal light of glory. That's also true to kids, and God's like, hey, I got plans for them too, and there's people that they're gonna need help, and if they had the nice little cushy lifestyle you wanted for them, then they wouldn't have been able to achieve their mission. And that's where he talks about, you'll weigh your crown on the ice of the lake of death or whatever. And, that really falls very nicely into a New Testament understanding of the problem of suffering, where Paul says in Romans 8 that we're heirs of God and co-heirs with Christ, which means that we're going to rule the universe one day with him. It was at Luke 21 where he says, you are my friends who stood by me through all my trials, and I'll confer on you a kingdom. And so, like, if you're a friend of Christ, when he finally gets crowned and recognized for who he deserves to be recognized as, we're going to be ruling with him, over the entire universe. So, like, hold on.
Bless you.
Sneezed. 1923. Yeah, so it's like, if you really believe that, then the same would apply for your kids. Your kids, and I'm at the place right now where I'm like, I wish they would just be done with this person so they don't have to keep getting yo-yoed by this individual. But I mean, what are you gonna do?
I know.
Like,
I know.
They're not gonna do that. And I know they're not going to do that because I would have done that if I was a kid. I would have been like, all right, you're unhealthy, you're destructive to my psyche, so I'm not, I would have never done that. So, it's crazy, but it's one of those things where, like, it's like, wow, even the kids, like, they can't get a break. But you got to kind of trust God and be like, well, they're going to be able to lay their crown down on the icy lake themselves, and, and it's kind of like the heavier the load you had to carry, the heavier the crown is, And I think it's a very practical way of looking at the world. Like, man, do you think you're just going to cruise through life? You think you're just going to cruise through life? Like,
no, but you want to create a certain situation in which your kids can cruise, but it's an impossibility as well. Because whether they're going to feel that when they're young, or they're going to grow and they're going to, life is suffering, but there is suffering in life, and there are things that there are obstacles, and there are things that you have to overcome, and everybody has different, not everybody's story is the same, but nobody's story is perfect either. If somebody's walking around talking about how perfect their story is and there's no hiccup in it, then you gotta be careful.
Right.
But
right.
But as a parent, you don't want to see any struggle for your kid. Like, I don't mind watching them struggle with, like, if I say, look, you need to scrub this floor, and they're like, oh, I've already done it, I can't anymore. Like, I don't mind that kind of struggle. I'm like, no, you're gonna finish it, go to the corners, you know what I mean? Like, that type of struggle, I don't mind seeing them go through. But there are struggles and stuff that, when they, it's just heart-wrenching.
Yeah. But, at the same time, those struggles made me the man that I am, and it served me well, when I was, being a kid and all that. It served me well, and it made it so that I could walk up to a Confederate flag waving Trump supporter and have a civil conversation with him, and without fear, because I was always introducing myself to people I didn't know because we were moving around so many times. So, like, the whole nerves about that whole circumstance is gone for me, because that's just one example of how pain that I endured as a child had positive ramifications on the other side of adulthood, but the process of getting from A to B is something that you as a parent always want to shield your kids from. And obviously, you're right. Obviously, I made the decision. I was 18, 19 years old. But that doesn't really change much when you're actually going through it with them. So the song was just crazy. It was very. I mean, this is a song I'm going to listen to a lot. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Because just lyrically, at least what I took from it is very, very deep and very, you know. It's there where your endeavor ends on the face of a forlorn lake under the weight of a timeless sky. It's where you shall die, and then it says death of a king, yada yada yada. Which, go ahead.
So basically, it's when you're coming to the end. And this, they're defining it that way. It's when you're coming to the end of your life, and everything it's kind of who you are, and you're faced with who you are, and you're on the mirror of time and stuff like that. So basically, that's what you got out of it too. That it's like the end.
Yeah, especially
like
the last.
Everybody's gonna face this lake.
The outro is death of a king, and you can, depending on which word you emphasize in the outro, is how you're gonna color the song. So if you say death is the main thing that should be emphasized in the outro, then the rest of the song is not necessarily that positive. But if you look at king and say that's the thrust of the outro, it basically means, yeah, you died, but you died as a king, meaning you earned your crown, meaning, you know, you went out as a king. And obviously as a Christian, I don't believe I earned anything other than the wrath of God. But God empowers you to live and move in this world in such a way as to be able to do that on the icy lake. Whatever you want to call, I think the icy lake is probably a metaphor of the exigencies of living in this world. Whatever you want to call it, like, that's how you do it. You know, you hold on to your faith and you stay strong till the end. You know, Paul says, I fought the good fight, I finished the race, I kept the faith. There's in store for me a crown of righteousness.
Yeah.
Which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award me on that day, and not only to me, but all who have longed for his appearance. So, you know, it's one of those things. You got an example of a guy who, and he went through a hell of a lot. Paul did, you know, beaten, stoned to death, you know, all that jazz. And so he was able to say confidently, like, yo, I'm out. I did it. You know, it's over. I'm out of here. And, you know, that's, at the end of the day, like, that's really all I can ask for. You know, you just want to finish strong and, you know, have a good death and make it so that your kids are strong on the inside and that they've got those foundations on the inside. And, you know, as a parent, you can't protect your kids from everything, you know, and you definitely can't protect them from certain members of their family. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a pretty crazy thing. So those are the things that I, you know, hold on to and have confidence in. So that's what the song meant to me. It was a real deep song there. So there you are. What do you get the song?
It was actually a 10 for me.
10 for me, for sure. I think I'm going to actually show this to one of the kids and see how they react to it, see what they say. Should be very interesting. All right, y'all. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.
Thanks, Kai.